Welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about the Twosun TS298. So this is a knife that when I first saw it, I could not believe I was seeing a full titanium frame lock bearing flipper with 14C 28N steel for less than $100. I will say that now that I have tested it, I can totally believe that it's less than $100. So let's get into the construction, the performance, and my thoughts on this knife, why I can believe it's so cheap, and hopefully help you form some good opinions and purchase decisions about it. So the construction, obviously this is a Wharncliffe blade, which I really like. I feel like that's a great utility shape. It's tilted back a little bit away from the line of the knife, which gives it a little bit more penetrating ability. Nice thick blade stock, but because the bevels are brought so high, it still comes down to a very thin edge. So that's really cool there. The titanium liners are skeletonized. I'm going to do a disassembly video separate from this video, so you don't have to sit through that if you don't want to, and you can see it if you do want to. I like the kind of choil here where your finger's not going to slide up onto the blade. Construction wise, it also does have plastic cage bearings, which you can feel. So the action on this just kind of feels a little bit rubbery, which is strange, but it does. You can tell that those bearings are in a plastic cage. Pocket clip is beautifully machined and ground. That is a really nice touch to see. I like the fact that the bolt is on the outside as well. I personally prefer that because if it gets loose, you can just tighten it rather than having to disassemble the whole knife to get one that is from the inside. Also love that the hardware is all T8. So no little T6s to strip on this one except for the blade steel insert there, which you're probably never going to take out. So all that is good stuff to like there, except for the bearings. Performance wise is where this knife gets a little weird. So it only did 200 cuts in my edge retention test. I say that's weird because this is a 14C 28N steel, and I'm used to that steel doing twice that many cuts. 200 cuts isn't a small number, it's not a terrible number, but it's a softer heat treat than I would have expected for this blade. I could understand that if this was looking to be a hard use knife, which you would think by looking at the thickness of the blade, full titanium handles, that it was. The problem with that is that the lock face on this prevents any sort of hard use. So if you see that little tiny spot right there, that is the only thing that the frame lock rests on. Again, compare that to my zero tolerance 0452. That's the lock face. So you can see it's like 4 times the size. Any reasonable knife construction, here's a Kaiser Odin, again, much larger lock face, that is a serious durability issue. Not only is it absolutely tiny, but you're not going to be able to see very well in this video, but if you can zoom in really close, you'll see that the lock face doesn't meet up firmly with the lock bar here. It meets kind of at an angle, so you're really only getting just the very point of that little tiny lock face rubbing against the lock bar, which means that's going to wear out very quickly. I would give this knife maybe 6 months of daily use before that lock is completely worn out and all the way over and just done. So my thoughts on this knife are really kind of amazing design. Heat treat's a little soft, again, not terrible, but not nearly what this steel is capable of, especially in something this thick. You know, and the lock face is really what lets this knife down. It could be a good knife. The heat treat being soft, I think, kind of takes it away from a great knife. And the lock face really kind of lets this down further than I would want to carry. I am going to end up returning this knife because I intended this to be my new daily carry, but it's just kind of not there. Let's get a quick weight on it because it does have a relatively light weight for a knife like this. This says 4.2 ounces. That's higher than the specs on this say, but I believe it. It feels kind of hefty. Size wise, real quick, Benchmade bug out, right? slightly bigger than that. It feels bigger in the hand because it's wider. Cold steel tie light. Cool design, not necessarily a durable design. Hopefully that is helpful. Hopefully you can make a better decision about this knife now. So like, subscribe, do all the YouTube stuff, and have a knife day.